to share this with you that in December 20, Khenchen Rinpoche would like to come to Chicago Ranashri Hour Center for gift teachings. It will be December 20 for whole day teaching and 21 on the morning time, morning to noon. Elizabeth, if you can be able to make an announcement. Ina lebu sarabe ngongmo. Ina la labro chana.
She's coming.
She's Marilla. Konda.
Yeah, okay, share this payable. Bala Damara Chibi no Bara Chibi Darwa Tamji Jimbe Vadu Jubara Chiba Tamji Jesu Chibi Ma Namka Danyambe Simjan Tamji Deva Tamben Dungar Danchi Nyurdu Lana Mibar Yang Tabara Zobe Chanchu Rinpoche Toba Cha.
Mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. All mother sentient beings, limitless as space, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may they experience happiness, be free from suffering, and swiftly may they attain precious, unsurpassed, perfectly complete enlightenment. For that purpose, until I attain Buddhahood, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. Until death, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue. From today until this time tomorrow, I will apply my body, speech, and mind to virtue.
Oh yeah, that's interesting and exciting. Oh, then that go back to choose, that's the dog go back to choose. Oh, that Tambo, the Jenny, but Shava Zondo, not to but the she goes. That Jenny Kidonga, Jaga, Nancy Kidonga, that's what the Kaduna triangles, then Ginoji. Or then Teba, Chul Teba Yoba. 我真的，我真之前呢，真的别在小娃是种东西，他小娃是你家种的，那他养的小娃他看就出工呢，在出头用呢，咱们提怎么嘛头要嘛的是，我真拿一当啊，这个能去动啊是用个的是，我真的那年呢要过去，我真是才把的，当去年呢要过去过的是苦完的怕的，他看着起头不多，然后的苦完的他俩怎么办？ 看着要啥的生活，但是呢，现在真的，这把几个的那种说啥的。
Okay, so we continue with the 10 essentials. And first, at the beginning, pure devotion that dreads birth and death, like a deer escaping a trap, is essential. So it is a genuine faith, a belief in not the cycle of samsara, that is of birth, our sufferings of birth, death, aging, and sickness, and so to truly have faith. Now, and that faith that generates a fear of the cycle of birth, aging, sickness, and death. That fear that arises when we think about that is like a deer trying to escape from a trap. So when a deer is caught up in a trap, then it tries anything and everything to get out of it. And so, and just like that, for a practitioner, one needs to fear those some sufferings of samsara, and then because when one thinks about that and one fears these sufferings of samsara, then one thinks about how can I become liberated from samsara. And so then with that, one then must strive in finding ways to become liberated from samsara.
我等呢，他小把时的像你这样的念着我，他会念着想多可些念着我在下的。on the one that show us in the year Kadi Tarhona, something is not Italia get on Chicago. Or better than answer the Uncle the Zona, that is not at the end. There is a Taria some of down at it. The Tachi that was or the Bajan go for it. The tours or the Bajan, that Tabitu matching that was to Marawa. Yamati post some come some Yamaya watching. What necessary Taria some of that Chigo is.
So it is just like at being a deer that is trapped in a pit and in a trap. And when a deer is in a trap, it will try to get free. And so just like that, we are trapped in the prison of samsara. And recognizing that we want to be free from samsara, we are thinking of how can I get out of this prison? So in order to get out of this prison, we need to accumulate merit and purify obscurations. So it's really only through practicing the Dharma that we can accumulate merit and purify obscurations. And so, this verse encourages us to think about freeing ourselves from samsara.
我真的他话的蛮久吧，蛮久呗，从旅行吧，从那吧，到些个是他，他话出来他现在现样蛮久吧，是他现在就把没得说的是，他从旅去过的，新吧，说那么多吧，说那么多新干的也个哇，他新干的比较在哪一个的是，他做的那个他操作这把讲回那个操作这把讲呀，讲呢，他现在就把没得是，他从旅去过的是，新干的说那么在咋个说的，那从旅过说的，也啥新的。담보 살로를 시간대고리 들이 추당고리 다테네 신장 산리 zamsun chop치고리 오베테나이다 나라서 조조 리바디한테는 거기나 센 발송고리 신장송고리와 와테나이 기가 맞아 신장송고리와 와테네 자신가데 고리 근데 그래서 내가 뭐서 때나이 다 배송체네 근데 나라서 테네 냠내 야보치네 이마시나 조바메레스다 치고리스 다시나 조바메레치야 또 때문에 야보치 냠내 보치고리 他怎么都跟那是恰松那边在西人跟就白见了，别说是了，有嘛嘞，这个都要么不行了。我这里天天我让做他的送不地的是的，做两年去过的，做大学的，做不两年去过的，没要过是，现在没有的是他去过的也是。
And then the next verse, in the middle, diligence that holds no regrets, even in the face of death, like a farmer who has finished tilling the soil, is essential. So in the middle, so once we have recognized that, then next we have to practice with great diligence so that when we die without any regrets. And so that is similar to a farmer tending his crops. So we need to make sure that we die without regret. And for that, we need to accumulate merit and purify obscurations. Then there will be no regret. And so that requires effort, just like a farmer tending to his crops. He must first plow the field and then plant the seeds, then water the seeds, and then protect the crops from being eaten by animals, and so forth. And so just like that, we must protect our mind. and that requires a great effort. And so with this kind of effort, we have to practice so that at least when we die with no regret. And so dying without regret means that you want to die a good person and someone who has practiced. If you are generally a bad person, then there will be a lot of regret at death, and all these negative deeds are of no benefit then. And so therefore now, while we're still alive, we have to practice and make sure to be a good person so that we will be able to die without regret.
我真的，咱就说白点话，他妈写就没把落对吧？台湾那件事情就都是，他妈他写就做，就当然是吧是，能做的话，能做的，我说这下过，但是下过下第四个来下过有人能做，下过是吧？能做一把用个嘛的意思，你们那要不嘛经常继续嘛的，但你们那要不经常去吧做能做当行吧？这样去吧去吧，能做人可就的去吧，可就的。能做的，这些现在你把全部有他的呢，我这些就没把，这些就有些都有主要嘛，能做是能做的。我对老的话，前话那不是别基本都些故事，我对老的话，对我能，但你们也我去查了吧，这样的，他们去就没把，对老的我可能别讲了些呢，基本前话那不些事，他们这个基本他们基本上他们多全部能，他老的看全部去怎么样？我同志这个他前话那不些事，前话先别先培养，前话忙不在去那个。真的，前话都是他没把强了嘛，我这能一，我真的老对我，他前话那片轻松，可能那些人那个老对我，他挺用个吧，前话先培养忙不着头，先别什么忙不，先别这个忙不起头，我这里用这个的话，我真能一，我真的他老对我能是有的起过来是。
Then number 3, in the end, a relieved mind, confident of no death, like a person who has completed a great endeavor, is essential. So that means that in the end, we want to die with a peaceful mind. And so that is ideally, what it meant here with being confident of no death is that realizing that death itself is just a concept. But of course, for us, ordinarily, it's hard to understand that unless one has very advanced practice. One hasn't realized that death is just a thought, just a concept. But actually, if one has a very good practice, then what one knows then is death is just this thought. It's a grasping. It's a thought in the mind. And so in any case, when we die, ideally we want to die with a peaceful mind, which is like a person who has completed a really magnificent task. So when a very like a powerful and a noble being has accomplished great benefit, and so that great benefit here refers to benefiting others extensively. If they have done a lot of things in their lives with an altruistic mind, then that person has completed completed their purpose, and with that they are able to live with a peaceful mind. So somebody who has done great and vast deeds for others will die peacefully.
我真的当传播者还是那农民一些吧，基本你那跑很大跑吧，对不些个是那农民现在那推出起来要马的上过来，那就当年嘛我做的，恐怕做是，那么这明年来钱多，那推出别下了不要推出这么的，这咱们的从教呀，这么的那个的呀，都以前小娃做起呀，推出没吧，咱嘛的人那推出被身体接触边，我当时对你们那些呀，什么当的，我当时对过来也是，我农民现在。农民些吧，基本你能打跑吧的，我的基本你能打跑是呢，基本在没这个打这跑动呢，打是别讲你现在那个现在没那种严重，真打跑动打怕肯定东西都的，真什么嘛说这现在有嘛的是，我真打是怕东亚什么的，我这基本当然是我真拿一的，让他也他推出嘛都怎么打，就不弄特别是怎么当的，你就不嘛弄那些这个吧，我真拿一其他什么的。我这真能怎么的当回事？当我做服务费就有，我我没说吧，我没说那南上嘛这个吧，我推出明白，真能一个休息的，要多咋啥吧那意思，要多会咋啥吧先呢，要多话就是在这卡设定，怕说的卡的啥个，要多的别的， 一面领水才要这么才能当的，我在那一段嘛是还起过的也是，那是对样的就同大金那对手干嘛的也出嘛当的现在，我真的也没看透透，当然就起过学的也是，你们个就恐怕就是他妈的那年前每天你们来见到啊。这样了，你干嘛的？那你刚才呢？最后他们3万4千了，3万特别的是吧？这那个大队伍，那么说的，那个那么但是车着吧呢？我听着清楚，我他拿银子去的是，我在那说，说是吧？
And then verse number 4. At the beginning, acknowledgement that you have no time to waste, like someone who has been hit in the chest by an arrow, is essential. So knowing that there is no time to spare is really important for our Dharma practice. And so having no time to spare means that there's no time for various worldly activities like making business or having various conversations and so forth, sleeping and eating and so on. In the past, actually, the practitioners would really dedicate much more of their time to practice, and they didn't spend much time on any other worldly things. They really tried to make every minute count, and may even tried not to waste a single minute. And so this arrow here, like being hit in the chest by an arrow. So it is just like, or when you're throwing an arrow, then all you have in mind is the target. So you're super focused on where this arrow is going to strike. So because you want the arrow to strike the vital point, and so therefore you will not just be idle and distracted, but you will act with focus. Or in Tibet, we also have another example that is, it is like as though your head catches on fire. If your head catches on fire, you will try to put it out immediately. Or another example we give is that it is like you're practicing like a hungry yak eating grass. When a hungry yak eats grass because it's very hungry, it never stops. So it's never like satiated. It never feels it's enough. So it keeps eating and eating and eating. And so just like that, one has to practice insatiably. And that means one has to make every minute count and practice as much as one can. And this is what the past Kagyu masters have done. They have really practiced day and night. Even at night, they wouldn't really lie down and they wouldn't really pay too much attention on eating. They would just eat very simple and quick food. Their whole life was really all about practice. And so we have to try to emulate them as much as we can.
我真的到底你把parts 的话，在 parts 你把这话题讲，我真的他讲几个玩意是吧？我
We Drupon keranke chuna mindok. Anything? Okay, okay. Kenza wo chasong. Oh, now it's better, yeah. Yeah.
我他跑是英美光吧，我几个现在马不全部差不多。我他天就天呢，他就当营养没了，这他你们那是要说的，英美光没西，他交在全部搞。的老个我，没那这当演艺从你们西这个嘛，我这娘，但我是弄啥的，我这女。我在这趟光他刚出来了，现老光就刚办一些，那说他研究就是过去，我到现在说研究就是光刚办一些，没会光我一些，没会光给他妈的，他妈的没会出了， 뭐 그거 쇼를 돼. 어디서 그거 쇼. 다 인미 공지 뭐고 말했다. 많이 나한테는 냠날 그래서 그러와. 어다 양손에가 제가 가리나 지토고 말해 이제 다시야. 어떻게 많이 봐서 그래. 스마 허지고 시베 마더스. 아마 제 가디나 남자 미코리오 마 바부 계속 남티 동아틱 somno gordo 쇼래. 어때 나 이게 당 알아서 그냥 그리고 그다지 냠내지 많이 봐지 냠내지. 그래서 뭐 당 그래서 어제 아마도 하나님 인그래 가디나 셈나 들어왔대. teleado te naji kana nyamna chigo ta kamsong ko ne tharia o se nyamna chigo nyamna mayin wa chi samne mayin wa chi te ka samne ro yong shona la nyamna ka chigo te ngo te nyamna te khadu na te jong ya te be song chigo e zong kyo sa ri.
And then number 5, in the middle, unwavering meditation, like a mother whose only child just died, is essential. So then in the middle, so in the middle means that when we're actually on the path of practice, we must practice without distraction. And that is really the heart of the practice. And it is said that non-distraction is really the main actually practice of meditation. This is what meditation really is all about. It's about not being distracted. So in the context of Mahamudra, it is the like the legs of meditation. Also, the legs of meditation is first of all to have renunciation. So renunciation is the legs of meditation, and that is to reflect on the four thoughts that turn the mind and so on. And then devotion is the head of the crown, the head of meditation. That is devotion to the guru and to the holy ones and to the teachings of the Dharma. So devotion is like the head of meditation, and really the heart essence, the main practice of that meditation is non-distraction. If the mind is distracted, you're not actually able to practice to meditate. So it is just like a mother who is fully focused on her child. So a mother is never wavers from a child. So she's always fixed on that and always worrying that something might happen to my child. So she always watches over the child with a very focused mind. And so in the same way, we have to practice with a complete unwavering attention and never be distracted. And so that this state, sustaining a state of non-distraction, that is the main part, or is the actual practice of meditation.
他有的上的话，他得考虑呢，他们前面，那这是叫个这个的什么？他们前面西吧，那出马扎西吧的，出马，可能
Ja, 사창이야 보면 도 그냥 갈래 그래서
他们他前面就西吧，出马这样西吧，一些嘛都是个是，他们前面先那他知道你们他其实他几把的没把他前面的那个你那的你东西，我这路口给我在前面先呐，我在这桥瓦的什么了这桥瓦，但几天可以桥瓦什么几把没把他前面先那就是桥前没把他前面，我是把他出马扎提把他出马先那时间可说啥的时间，你嘛他桥瓦的来往了，他后头说那话他说讲。这什么叫他妈的那个啥的？这什么叫他们那个话都做起要的的，那个话的，
그 번에 기회가 보면 도
我是从前面的，他写到呀，写到嘛讲话的时候呢，真的。
I don't hear anything. I don't know. Drupon, I'm sorry, I don't hear anything. Drupon. Misschien de kerang tawa ya bosa mari ngati di dok chendo dok tiga boy chunyong men dok che yung.
야, 제 로가
Drupon desa la internet yako yosa mare.
Yeah. I think it's about to break off. Mindok Michigan internet patchet yak po summary.
Tama Chelmi Chuma Rati, but I Shema goes the Lamdo. Or Tama Chelmi and the Yamachi, then you can't Chava maybe. Chava Chijo man, the Strumpus and Chelmi, then you can't Chava loans the Yaga, so maybe. That's all the Simponero done, Chasor Tampi Chewe, Chasor Chinan, Chasor Londe Chewe, Chava, that's Russia, Lolin Deba. What in Yamachi got a new rich medicine, and the Chuma Ratis and the Chuma Ratis and some Ratis. 但罗巴特说那个嘛，亚那种这种，但时间有了吧？我这说扎提松，但罗巴特特别小有嘛了吧？但扎这说在什么有的切换的这说，但是那么大有的，那么大有的，罗巴特说，两罗亚那怕有嘛，罗巴特说这下几点我想，我这特别有嘛的说，在哪因谁？但那说，就看切换上面的，但切换啊，前面可能咱们去过的是拉票啥的，去这边没钱呢。
Okay. Number 6, in the end, recognizing that there is no thing to do, like a milkmaid after the enemy has carried off all the cattle, is essential. Is it a milkmaid? Is it a milkmaid though? Okay. Anyways, so the point here is that so it is just like being a herder of livestock who remains like so like a herder whose livestock has been driven off by enemies, and so when they're all driven off, then there's no point in grasping because they're driven off. And so in Mahamudra terms, it is said that to be effortless means to be without grasping at mundane activities, without engaging the intellect, so transcending the thinking mind, the intellect, one reaches an effortless state. And so this is an example, that follows the Tibetan tradition of nomads, where you have your cattle, your livestock, and so when the material possessions are like this livestock essentially, and so when they're driven away into an empty valley, so when the deer arrives in an empty valley, they're driven away there. Then there's nothing there. There's nothing that will harm them or benefit them. So essentially, there's neither benefit nor harm. And so similarly, a practitioner who has abandoned all this accumulating and hoarding of material things is like this kind of this wild deer or of livestock in an empty valley, where you're fine to have and fine not to have. So the point is to release the attachment, the grasping in the mind, and when there's no grasping, there is nothing left to do.
我他这当地呢，三多呢，上级三多呢，这种有了那个很多才这有了话题呢，看到啊。
Yeah.
我真的三多呢，上级一边，三多呢，上级一边留些气势，我这三多从上级一边留些气势，三多上级，我的真的，这先把它制度也有嘛吧，我真的在路边上有了才加上看看嘛，老爷求的，弄的同门同事。 罗伊秋季弄的同嘛同，前边秋边前面是，啥没得是，弄的前面同是多多那是，这个让三自秋，这个结果的口，是我的让三自秋呢，这个结果的效果是，他前面同多呀子，前面他用嘛用什么说明白？他前面同是，我在那票查的。
So it is. It is said in Dhaka,
Daka Ishindo, Daka,
also the White Moon Wisdom, the White Moon Wisdom Sutra. It says that when one realizes the mind, then you perceive Buddha directly, and then there is nothing more to do, nothing more to understand. And Tilopa also said in the Ganges Mahamudra, that which lies beyond the intellect cannot be realized by means of the intellect. If you want to realize what lies beyond thought, you must rest in naked awareness. And so this verse is speaking about the essence of effortlessness or non-activity.
我这样大概已经都是龙天早上做什么的这些呢？我这里想到那一些隐巴是，一些隐别是，一些隐别是，商界县城面做的呗，商界这些，但想到那一些是隐别，商界县城面做的呗，对些啥子公司，对些啥子公布的种多。
So again, this quote from the White Moon's Wisdom Sutra, it says that when a mind is realized, that is a primordial awareness, that is wisdom, and when that is seen, then no other Buddha is to be found, and therefore you should meditate thoroughly on this perception.
我他过啥的呗？
Okay,
야, 전에 자세히 안 통보 제도가 통보出来那些级别都会开始上报去吧，代表写入是，我通报出了这，他娘们亲的这说，他娘们说句的些呢，他出办的这些用给我，我这用很多真的他在出偏托过来，娘们亲的偏托过来，娘们他娘们用的这些，我这没出娘们他前头落的这样出来，别想着他没多话看了，马拉你往忙不人着说呢。 这上网上报这种，别忙不塞给的是的。我在那里在别忙不塞的，我在那里，但是可能那军出去，这刚出错的，我在针对他们去呀，我针对到科学啥的。
And number 7. At the beginning, so again in the beginning, so at the beginning. Gaining certainty in the Dharma, like a starving man finding a delicious meal, is essential. So gaining certainty in the Dharma, so that is in the beginning we have to get a little taste of the Dharma. So that's certainty here. We have to experience it. We must experience the Dharma, because with at least some experience of the Dharma, you then will experience the benefits of the practice. And once you have experienced, at least to some extent, the benefits of the practice, then you will want to practice more. You will always want to practice. And in fact, you will want to practice so much like someone who hasn't had food for many days. So if you have been starving for many days, and then finally you find some food, then you will eat lots of food. So it's just a hungry person encountering a lot of food. And so just like that, if you have tasted the benefit of the practice, then you will want to practice the Dharma in this way.
我真的在玩的让生那些几把七斤多你把这个是，我真的他的玩是让生在这从那些养活你呢。 那七斤多你把这个是的，但我说这哪说啥的，他让什么的，他什么的现在上街没是没那个种了，他什么他马头他上街有了，我什么时候上街用种是没那个什么东西上街这种种是，我这样的人吧，他那些说什么上街人吧，那些人呢，七斤多人把的，其实呢这东西呢，其实呢，没多钱不才他说的，他没多钱不才，这趟其实这有啥的，其实这了努力有的是可能。 我讲努力有啥的，我这样对可能努力在可能有吧他， 하고셔서 말해. 때 너를 치러 수기 안 너를 스콘도 잠 치러 수기 너들이 때 너를 이해하여 말이다. 我在没这个，但是너를 치러 간 거를 너 생각데 그 너를 이해되려 와. 我在那一张那那先给那路的，说的两期都是从变化的，但先说在两期呢，先的在上级把做多红呢，我在期那一般那个意思，我在干部别种了，大把一边让先的都是，先的先别大把这边那是，期间能做人按照我按给他这东巴是我的，期间那路
그래 송송 Gampopa 그래 송송가 기억장리.
大把一边让先的都是。 先的先别大把这吧那是，先的先别大把这呢。 期间能做着我是，期间能做的那就也是按给他这东，按给人家这东，往啥现在快学才的。
Gampopa que sura.
没那这批干部
Amilere
送
pa
多，
Gampopa la.
我这送多，我这做的先肯定路从我出，那这期间都是一般的也是。
Okay. Then next number was number 8. Is it 8? Yeah. Number 8. In the middle, gaining certainty in your mind, like a strong man discovering a jewel, is essential. So, like a strong man discovering a jewel. So first of all, Milarepa said that this is what Marpa had told him. So he said that your own mind is the Buddha, and there is no other Buddha apart from your own mind. There's no other Buddha found apart from your own mind. And therefore, you must find certainty that the Buddha is your own mind. And so now this strong man that discovers a jewel on I guess it literally says on his head. So like a person, a strong man is a very powerful person. Even though when they are very powerful, because they carry the jewel on their head, they don't see that, even though it's right on top of them, but they don't see that. So not knowing that there is a jewel, they search everywhere for that jewel, but they cannot find it until someone finally tells them there is a jewel right on your head. And then that search ends, and they realize that has always been with them. And in the same way, one has to gain a certainty in one's own mind that one's own mind is the Buddha. And seeing that is like finding this jewel on one's own head. And there's no more need to search for anything on the outside. So that is so that's that example with the strong man. And so then so in was it was another minute? So yeah, and so Gampopa, Milarepa also told Gampopa that the view is certain to be your own mind. So look for the view there. Seeking the view elsewhere, other than your own mind, is like this a giant person searching, a powerful person searching for a jewel. So understand this, noble physician.
那他妈的这，那他妈先他妈做那么，他妈你些结巴呢，说话最后点吧，对不起，我是，我他妈他你是那他从这，他娘们头就一下，他提进那人吧，他我说那人是说有把哈可能，他娘们新闻的，但他妈这从这，可是从从有趟那这边想说，你是没吧？咱那些结果的是那些结，我这从这是说他妈没打巴掌，他你打巴掌没错，从这你看没吧？ 我这那种他都这秋季过这参戏的恰的他也完没吧，让他秋季演的也完没吧，新对真的这里也是，让他想那种他可过是从这的，是从美语那日本艺术吧，这哈可说那的呢，从这次说你嘛从这起的什么，他怎么样嘛的，这哈可学啥的哇，怎么样嘛，他从这次买说，他在出从的从这你去恰着和，但出完。 把这我写的，但主要这个，他说从国破当中那种，他从这南方他说跟国破当中那种，这哈国学啥的哇？我在国破当中哈国对真的从这你是明白这也是，我在那些就他说破准破对吧？这说破是那他农国破当中有几件子出来，有几说他现在这可能做嘛，一把哈国从那这 这都要下有嘛，我准备多少呢？我在那也是的，准备多少呢？可可准有去那种汽车个嘛哇，哈过路个没种，我在那一站那个说送这去南跑说你的说从过说哈过人呢，但那你没看那汽车说呢，我在从这能跑从特别跟过说，但哈过这种可是了吧。
And number 9, in the end, gaining certainty in non-duality, like a charlatan whose falsehood is exposed, is essential. So then finally, one must gain a certainty in non-duality. And so that means the non-duality of subject and object, or the grasper and the grasp, subject and the object. One must realize that these ideas of subject and object are just fabricated labels, and in reality, they do not truly exist. And that is just like realizing the jewel in your own mind and nowhere else. So that is what happens when this certainty in non-duality arises. Then you see that all these dualistic labels and perceptions just like the lies spoken by a charlatan, or like a swindler, a liar. Because you realize that that's not how it is. In truth, there is no division between subject and object. They're indivisible. They're one within the Dharma Dhatu, and the nature of the mind. And so likewise, then one realizes that all phenomena are like that the outer object and the inner perceiving mind, all these phenomena that we perceive and the mind perceiving them are not actually separate. And so when that certainty arises, it is like exposing a swindler's, a charlatan's lies. So a deceitful person may tell you some lies, but once the truth is uncovered, then everyone sees through that person. And so once you have seen that there is no duality between subject and object, even though it has persisted until now when you realize that it all is actually not real, it's not true, it's false, it is like exposing a liar. And after a liar is being exposed, he can no longer deceive anyone because everyone knows him as a liar. And so similarly, when one realizes at this point, when one gains this certainty in non-duality, when one can no longer be misled by these dualistic thoughts of subject and object.
我在对是的，这当然都是轮到American人的，现在可能我在有很多
啊，
现在可能马来西亚有American的相关，这个American没开始 class 是吧？但不会的工作现在可能的是刚那时间的我就来真正忙不是下个是你口的个小米了是吧？但是原来的让平时工作不会的。真的，好像第一次上班前两期间嘛，第一次课了，怕俺把下过了，好像第一下就个来噻。哦，他真的就要，他没钱不晓得真的，他怕嘛这种个破档的下过，真的，我等到一百个当初，但出来第一他是路，要说那路错多好，那个破档学吧，但是错下过一下吧。
So one good example is quite similar to that is in America, we have this tradition of Santa Claus. And so the children in America, they're being told by their parents that so there is a Santa Claus. And he comes at night and then he puts his chocolate in the stockings and he leaves it there for you. And then when you wake up, you find all this chocolate. And children believe that Santa Claus really put it there. And then the parents tell them, but you can't take it all. You also have to leave some out for him. And so then later, when they grow up, they realize there was no Santa Claus in the first place, and they realize that actually their parents in essence lied to them, and the story just falls apart the moment they realize there is no real Santa Claus. And so it's just like that when you realize the nature of the reality of the mind, whatever you took to be so true and solid, so real subject and object, you see, all of a sudden, you see completely through it. And so it is just like that. Once you realize the nature of the mind, you see that all of these perceptions were just lies, and these lies can no longer fool you.
真的，这困难你了，我打球吧，谁能跑得切着？但不是个是那多，这困难你现在想那路差不多，打球吧，先，先打特别球吧，先打特别球吧，先打是特别球个打完的。没那个这种，先打特别球吧，你们是光别人吧，你们是光的那个的，是种，真的让他们没那个种子，特别想了，当你下是特别想当你下个的，这就我对上面是。 dat je gewoon doet dan mis. Dat weet toch zo samen de chance. Wat dat weet toch zo te samen soms wat er zo'n door wat er nou iets zijn getaald bij jou zo na. Wat dat zijn taal zo te doen. Nou, je moet zijn taal zo zo na. Nee, dat wat zijn de nee, dat is maar toch maar dat zijn zo taal zo zo na. En dan je moet taal zien te doen. Dat is een maar wat je moet chico is moet doen. Dan je moet chico moet doen. 네, 생는 버릇 저러도 저기 고스 생는 버릇 저러서는 다 쌤 상상 넘어라면 좋은 거래. 어떤 좋은 거 때문에 상상 파타 남도 진 망보 용단 파다쇼스. 다쇼의 많이 나다 산호세跟我 진남도도 파다요 샤나. 근데 지금 뭔가 간 소리 한 거래. 스페셜 생인 버릇 저러서는 저랬다. 주생제나 저러지 요나. 저러 노동이 포함도 그랬어. 포함도 다 점수 강밥 두고 말아 수사 주생난 봐 그랬어. 我别才能意思。这么的种西巴语签证那谁能跑出来吃肉都不是。真的西巴语签证都是那谁能跑出来吃肉都种多没来的票，真的意思。然后他怕当过来，当呢这你当的这把手提门徒呢就从那真的原来是起初个嘛的意思。我这样对真的都起过来意思。说많이 받치네. 다 많이 받냐면 지디나 되네. 그 샘고 반로송나 지 남포 반로송나 지 이제 같이 같이 수고 말해서. 근데 지금 맞업도 되네. 수사에 공간에 한 거래서. 我别在那里的是在国内路在人家去这个错了。我讲啊，他就看到有的是。我在那里种诶。
And then number 10. Resolving suchness like a crow flying up from a ship is essential. So suchness, resolving suchness here, it just means the nature of the mind as it is, as it really is, the mind itself. Milarepa said the view is nothing but deciding that it is the mind itself. And Milarepa said practice is nothing but making that a direct experience. So, and that is significant because we may recognize the nature of the mind, but it also has to become a direct experience. So we may understand the nature of the mind, but we have to also practice it, experience it. And we do that with a mind of non-distraction, undistracted mind. And so this mind, this practice, this undistracted practice is like allowing a crow to fly off a ship in mid-sea. It has nowhere else to return to than the ship. There's no need to try to restrain the crow. It will come back. And so likewise, you just rest in the natural state of the mind, and thoughts will arise, and eventually one sees that there is nothing to observe and the thoughts just dissolve. So again, even after one has recognized the mind, one has to also practice. If one practices, then all these thoughts will always come back to the ship, like the crow coming back to the ship. And that means practicing means not just recognizing, but to sustain with a state of undistraction, remaining undistracted, because thoughts will arise. All kinds of thoughts will still arise. And when they arise, staying undistracted means to not restrain them, just let them be, let them go, let those thoughts come and go. Let them just be, just like we let the crow fly, but it will return to the ship because there's nowhere else to land for the crow in the open water. It must return to the ship. And so similarly, so Milarepa also taught that. He said that when you meditate and thoughts arise, then your don't allow your consciousness to follow. Don't try to restrain those thoughts. Don't follow those thoughts. Just release them, like releasing the crow and allowing it to come back home by itself. And so what it means is that if we cling and grasp and try to restrain, then we cannot actually practice. So the point of practice is to be without distraction. And then even when a thought arises, you just release it, and then it cannot do much. It will just return. It will return to meditation on its own, just like a crow returning to the ship in open water.
真的，他真是去小南美，或者是那当个主要不可能做到，基本上他是可基本上把那边看完了如果，看到其他人做什么，参观的然后参加也不多，可把嘛头有嘛了，可把对可把也不对。
So let's stop here for today because the internet connection is quite bad. And Drupon said next week he's going to go to the Lama house and give the teachings from there because here now in his cabin there's almost no signal. So let's stop here and let's do more next time.
我真的老想，第一次话，哎呀，我真的老就是他自己全部背下去当然把门。
Yeah.
我提名的一路是的email 提查不到当了，是 website 我罗其实看是那看见目前提别下的这个是这把本就看什么意思，但看见某个就是那个意思，名提讲他就要这老罗去。
And so for Elizabeth, so after the teachings, I'm going to send you the name of a text that Drupon forwarded to me in WeChat. So, and that's the text that Kenshin Rinpoche will teach on when he's here. And it's a text by Chigden Sumgun. So I'm going to send you the name of that text. And so Drupon is asking you to announce that, please.
当然对。
Kind root and lineage lamas, divine assembly of Yadams and assemblies of Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, heroes and heroines, Yogini and assembly of Dakinis dwelling in the 10 directions, please heed me. By the power of this vast root of virtue, may I benefit all sentient beings through my body, speech, and mind. May the afflictions of desire, hatred, ignorance, pride, and jealousy not arise within my mind. May thoughts of fame, reputation, wealth, honor, and concern for this life not arise for even a moment. May my mind stream be moistened by loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta, and through that may I become a spiritual master with good qualities equal to the infinity of space. May I gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra in this very life. Even at death, may the torment of suffering not arise. May I not die with negative thoughts. May I not die confused by wrong view. May I not experience an untimely death. May I die joyfully and happily in the great luminosity of the mind as such, and in the pervasive clarity of Dharmata. May I, in any case, gain the supreme attainment of Mahamudra at the time of death or in the bardo.
Yeah, okay, thank you. 아니, 컨트리도 네팔에서 치트. 이나. 이나 요에.
Yes.
아니, 네팔에 다 컨트리도.
So.
아니, 도.
Any one more? So.
That's it. 아니,
they can engage you say, oh, sorry, Ani Wangmo. He asked me, how is Ani Wangmo in the porn? I said, I have no idea, but is Ani Wangmo here?
Yeah.
How are you doing how are you doing in Nepal?
Oh, good. Ani Samkar has been very kind, and I'm settling in okay.
Yeah, good.
Pay up those Ani Sampa, more on the pay up what you do.
Oh, yeah, that yeah, but
This sorry.
TJ Lassa.
호기디 나야고 장한테 하기 하고 싶으나 이제 막 배차 막 스타트야 팽게 봐.
Yeah. So study Tibetan well. If you know Tibetan well, then it will really help your Dharma studies.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you,
Tujete.
everybody. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Tuji ina chiro ngaje dangse me ta ris dang ka ngi la ro ta.
Di ge di ming di ra.
Mo de me se se jo ta me. Da dang ge yang cha de ngi ge cha de ya de nga 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 cha da se so yo. Yeah,
Okay.
Tuji. Thank you.
Teaching.
Tuji.